Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I'm so glad that you're here watching me. I'm going to be making a really cute stair step card. Here it is. And the stair step is the side section. So basically it forms steps like this. So you have this is the step, this is the next step. So that's why it's called a stair step card. It's like steps, and on each landing here you have something attached. So it's actually a basic card. So when you have it like this, it forms just a regular card. It's the folding that you do that forms the stairs, and it looks hard, but it's actually very simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and show you what to do. We are using the Peaceful Deer stamp set. That's out of the current holiday mini catalog. It is a beautiful stamp set and it's very inexpensive. It's on page 26. It's $36 for the bundle. You get this beautiful stamp set, which has so many different stamps in it. And then you get the punch right here. And the punch punches out these two deer right here and these antlers. It also does a little nose if you want to make it a Rudolph. I chose to make a Rudolph today on my card, only I used a red embellishment gem for his nose. There it is, super cute, and see how it glistens. All right, so let's move this stuff out of the way. We're gonna use it, but not right now. This is the Forever Flourishes dies. And I'm using this one right here. I've already gone ahead and cut it out. So 2 of these are what are being used. So I do want to point that out to you. So let's put all the elements together first, and then we'll do the cutting of the card so that we can assemble it. So let me move the stamp set out of the way. And we're going to start with these, which I've already cut. There's also a circle that the deer sits on. That's been cut out of the layering circles out of our vellum cardstock. So those 2 elements are done and ready over here on the side. So let's go ahead and punch our little deer. And we're going to go ahead and assemble him and make him into a buck with the antlers. So we're going to use our black glitter paper, and here's our punch. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this in from the side like so. I just want to get my deer. Let's see if I can get him or her. There we go. And I don't need the antlers at this moment because I have extra antlers from another project. So we're going to go ahead and just punch him and save a little bit of cardstock here. All right. And let me show you the antlers I've already cut from another project, but they're also out of the glitter paper. There's one and there's the other. So I do want to point out, I'm going to put it on a lighter piece here so that you can see. There's kind of like a little nub right here, and those are the pieces that they meet together. So the 2 nubs inside, that's how the antlers go. They don't go like this with the nubs out. So you want them with the nubs in. And we're gonna go ahead and grab my silicone mat here. I like to use that when I use some wet adhesive, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the back of this deer. Let's move him so I can see what if I'm in camera for you. So we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive right there. That's all you need, just that tiny little bit. It's a very strong adhesive, this wet adhesive. And I'm told you with the nubs in, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over, and I'm gonna stick one of those antlers right there, and then I'm gonna grab the other one and also put it with the nub in. And then I'm gonna adjust how I want them to sit. And once I'm happy with that, and it's not sticking to my finger like that just did, let me put a little bit more glue. I think I picked it up all with my finger. Okay. Let's go ahead and do it this way so I don't stick my finger right on it. Okay. So once I have those there, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this little guy over and let him sit. You can see the little nubs are sticking out in between the two ears. That's how they should be. And we're gonna just set it off here to the side. So now we're gonna do, so that gives us our pieces for here. We have the reindeer and the two green pieces and the circle. So now we're gonna do the parts for the step. So to do that, I'm gonna start with this piece here. We're gonna stamp it with the words Merry Christmas. And then we are also going to punch with this Everyday Label Punch. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it from the back end here and punch one of those out. Cut this piece off. You never know when I need a small scrap of white, and now I will have it. All right, this is a small scrap of white, as you can see. So we do use them, but we're gonna stamp Merry Christmas on here. I'm gonna bring it down here where I can see. I think I've gotten a little crooked. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get it back in place here. So we're gonna put this down here where I can see and not put my head in the camera. That's the key, right? We don't want the head in the camera because you guys don't need to see the top of my head. You need to see my stamping. All right, so I'm gonna ink up my Merry Christmas. And I'm just gonna center that right like so on that piece. We'll leave the red open. I'm gonna move that to the side, and we're gonna stamp the words that say, wishing you a wonderful year and friendships dear, also with real red. I'm gonna put that in the center of this piece, just like that. And we're done with red. So let's go ahead and put the red away. And the next color we're gonna use is Garden Green. So real red is done. So for Garden Green, I'm gonna grab a little scrap piece here. I'm gonna place this on here, and I'm gonna use the snowflakes. So we're gonna grab these, and we're just gonna put some on each side like so. And I'm gonna do one up here. There we go. So there's our sentiment. So we'll go ahead and put that to the side. And then I'm also on this piece, it goes on the back. So we're going to stamp one right there and one at the bottom. And that's it for stamping. So our stamping is out of the way. Let's go ahead and clean our stamps and move them on so we can get to the fun part, which is going to be making the actual stair step of the card. I want you guys to see how actually easy it is. I know it looks intimidating, but I promise that it will be easy. The key is to use your paper trimmer and let it do the work for you, okay? So now on these pieces, I'm just gonna kind of put them all together and off to the corner here. This punch, we're gonna use this banner punch for this particular little strip here. And so we're gonna stick it in from the back side right here. And I just kind of line that up in the middle and give it a little punch. Flip it around to the other side. Do the same thing, push it in, give it a little punch. These little pieces that pop out will go in the trash. All right. So there is our Merry Christmas. I'm gonna put that to the side. All right, now this piece here is 2 5/8 by 4 inches. And I'm gonna cut it down to 2.5. And when I do that, it's gonna give me a little strip. I'm gonna show you. So we have it at 2 5/8. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it to 2.5 inches. So when I do that, it gives me this little strip. When I flip it over, it has no white and it's just plaid. And we are gonna use that for this piece right here. So let's go ahead and put it off to the side. And this gets attached later as well. So all of that stuff is out of the way. All right. Now that little cutter that I used is a Stampin' Up guillotine cutter. It's a baby one that was part of a promotion a long time ago for demonstrators. But you can get those guillotine cutters on Amazon if you want a baby guillotine cutter. I like having it on my desk. So let's go ahead and take this 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock and transform it into our stair step card. So what we're gonna do first is I kind of use my trimmer backwards. So Sorry for that. Hopefully you guys can see. If not, I'm gonna have to do it kind of at an angle. There we go. And try and, let me do it this direction, I think. No, I have more room this way. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and, can you see my cutter here? We also have this piece. I have put a piece of white paper along here so that I could read all the measurements that are on the side. So that paper helps to highlight these little tick marks, and we're going to use those today. So what you're going to do is go ahead and score, which is this gray blade. There's a cutting blade and the scoring blade that come with the trimmer. So I'm going to move the cutting one out of the way for right now, and we're just going to use the scoring blade. So the 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock needs to be cut in half so that we can fold it like a regular card, right? So the halfway point of 8.5 inches is 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and stick it in here, and we're going to score it. Here's the 4, and here's the 4 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and bring it down and score that center at 4 1/4. Hopefully you guys can see that score mark there at 4 1/4. So now we're going to do some more scoring, and I'm going to start the score blade on this side and score in this direction. So we're going to start scoring at the 1 inch mark. So we're going to bring this paper and we're going to put it at the 1 inch, which is right here. And there we go. And we're going to drop the safety, and we're going to score to the 2 3/4 inch mark. Remember this ruler I showed you here? So we have the 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. And so I'm going to put my finger there, and I'm just going to bring it till you bring the blade. On the side of this blade is a little hash mark, and that hash mark shows you where the blade is. So you're going to bring it right to the 2 3/4 and bring it back. Always on that side. So at the 1 inch. Now we're going to slide it to the 2 inch. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stop it at 2 3/4. So I put my finger there and bring it back. So now we have a score mark at 1 and at 2. Now we're going to do 3 1/8. So here's the 3, here's the 3 1/8. Bring it down, put my finger at the 2 3/4 inch mark, and bring my blade, scoring blade down and back. So now we have a 1 inch, a 2 inch, and 3 1/8 inch. Now the 4 1/4 is all the way across. So we have one more to make. And so to do that, I'm going to have to open up my trimmer, and it has this ruler that comes all the way across like so. And I'm going to put it at 6 3/8. So here's 6, 6 1/8, 6 1/4, 6 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there. And again, I'm going to start my blade on this side. I'm going to put my finger at 2 3/4, and I'm going to bring this down right to the 2 3/4 inch mark and bring it back. So let me show you all the score marks. So we have a score mark at 1, at 2, at 3 1/8. The 4 1/4 is the one we did first, and it went all the way across. And then we have one at 6 3/8 inch. Now I'm going to turn my cardstock in this direction so that all the score marks are on this side. And I'm going to put it in at 2 3/4 inch. Remember, we stopped at 2 3/4 inch, so that's where all those score marks stop. And this time I'm going to cut, so I'm going to push my score blade out of the way, and I'm going to bring my cutting blade in, and I'm going to let it fall somewhere in the middle. Okay, so this is at 2 3/4, my cardstock. I'm going to bring this, and my cutter is somewhere in the middle of this piece of cardstock, okay? So remember, our first score mark was at 1 inch, and our last one was at 6 3/8. So we're going to bring this cutting blade down to the 1 inch mark. I'm going to hold my finger there, and I'm going to cut and stop at the 1 inch mark, just like that. Now I'm going to push it up, and I'm going to hold the 6 1/8, 6 2/8, 6 3/8, and that's where I'm going to stop that side blade again, right at 6 3/8. If you go a tiny bit past, it's fine. When I pull it out, this is the cut mark, and it goes from the 1 inch score mark to the 6 3/8 inch score mark. And then you can see all the scoring that we have here. Let me move my paper trimmer out of the way, and then I will show you how we're going to bend this into place. So we're going to put our ruler back, cover that. Oh, sorry for shaking the camera. All right. So here we are. Here's our piece. So we have all these little score marks and we have that cut in the middle. So here's our stair step. I'm going to flatten it out for you to see. It's the same thing. It's cut and it has all these score marks in the middle. So let's go ahead and fold it at this piece here where it's going to be facing forward. And then these pieces are going to be independent. So we're going to start the first one and we're going to score it at a mountain. And what mountain means is that it's at a peak, okay? The next one is going to be a valley. So it's basically your fan folding your piece so that you end up with 2 small mountains and 1 big one, okay? So once you get this first one, if you go in an accordion or fan fold, that's what forms your pieces. So I'm going to grab my bone folder and I'm going to burnish each one like that. Make sure this one's done. So that forms my stair step card. See guys, it wasn't that hard. So now we're going to put all of our embellishments that we've already decorated and gotten ready. I'm going to bring those into camera. Let's start with this one. I'm going to use my seal adhesive. We're going to go ahead and put that on the back of this piece. And this is going to form, I'm going to open this up and it's going to go all the way up and down with a border all the way around, just like that on this piece. And this is what's going to get our little reindeer embellishments. On this back big panel, we're going to put this label with the everyday label. So let's go ahead and get our seal out and put that in that piece. And it's centered in between these 2 score marks. So let's just eyeball it as best you can and go ahead and stick that down. Now we're going to skip a panel. And on this panel, it's going to get this little piece of plaid paper. Now remember, this side has the snowflakes, but the back side is plaid without it. So we're going to put adhesive. We're going to use the silicone mat. And we're going to put this wet adhesive all the way across. Well, we don't need it quite all the way across because it's too long for that panel. And I'm going to trim that off. But for most of it. And then this part that doesn't have the glue, I'm going to pick it up and hold it. And we're going to go ahead and center that on that panel. Remember, we've skipped one. And we're just going to press that down like so, all the way across. And then I'm just going to flip this over and use my snips and trim off that extra piece to the trash. All right, so that's that piece. Now this bottom section is going to get our Merry Christmas. So we'll just grab the seal here and run a line of it. I missed the spot. There we go. And so that gets centered in this bottom piece. So it's coming together, guys. So let's go back to this side. So we have our little reindeer right here. And we have these 2 pieces that are going to get attached above and below. So we need our silicone mat again. And we're going to get our wet glue. And we're just going to put a little bit on the back of each of these leaves. Like that. And I have a tweezer that's a reverse action tweezer. You can buy it at any craft store or on Amazon. And what it is it's closed all the time. When you squeeze, it opens. So we're going to squeeze to open, let it grab onto that piece, and then we're going to bring it over here and we're going to attach it at this top section, just like so. Let's put adhesive on this one and it's going to go on the bottom section. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of this wet glue on each of these leaves. And this time I'm going to pick it up from this section here and turn it in this direction. Move it up a little so you guys can see. And we're going to place it right here on the bottom. Okay. So those are kind of like a little bow of greenery. Now comes our circle. That's going to get attached in the center here, right on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach our deer to our circle, and then we'll know where we can put our adhesive. So let's flip our little reindeer over, and we're going to put some mini dimensionals, which give him a little bit of foam lift. We'll put those on him here. And once those 4 are on there, I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to pull the backs off. I love this tool. It's by far my favorite tool that Stampin' Up! Has. And I like it because it helps me not to have all those little backings of these dimensionals, because I tend to use so many dimensionals, and it puts them right in the trash can. Okay, so now here's our circle. So now that I have him attached, when I flip him over, you can see his black outline. That's where we're going to go ahead and put this adhesive, because no one will see it if it's behind our deer. So I like to put him down first, because vellum is see-through, and I don't want people to see that adhesive that I'm using. So I'm going to put it basically behind the deer, and then I'm going to go ahead and push this down like so, and position that circle right there. All right, guys, we're almost done. This is so exciting. So the last piece that we're going to attach before we get to the embellishment part is this panel that we stamped with our snowflakes. So let's go ahead and just run 2 lines of seal right down the sides here. And we will push this on just like that. So that's our back panel. And that's where we can write our little Merry Christmas sentiment, or from our family to yours, or whatever you want to place on there. So now we're going to use embellishments, and the embellishments that I've chosen to use are called Wonderful Gems. Hopefully I can find them, because I'm looking and I don't see them right now. Here they are. They were hiding under a box. Here they are. So these Wonderful Gems come in 2 colors. You get the red with the gold sparkle in them, and you see how shiny they all are. They're very faceted. So we're going to use our Take Your Pick tool again. We're going to use the putty end this time, and we're going to grab 2 of these small ones, and we're going to put them in the corners right here. And what I love about this is that the black shows through them because they're clear, but yet you still get that gold sparkle. We're going to put a large one right here on that strip, so let me grab one of those, and it's going to go right here in the center, and that gives it its little bit of glitz. Now we're going to use a red one this time. And we're going to use a small red one. So I'm going to grab one. And it's going to be on the nose of the reindeer, because I want to make him Rudolph. So there's his little nose. And see how it glistens. So let's go ahead and fold our card. So remember, fan fold. This is folded. And there is our beautiful Stairstep card. I hope you enjoyed watching me make it. I really appreciate you watching. I'm kind of new to YouTube, although I have been blogging for over a year on my blog, Inky Hands Warm Hearts. So I would love it if you would visit me there. I do blog every single day. I do YouTubes about 2 to 3 times a week, but I blog every day on my blog, so there's lots and lots of projects for you to look at. I do showcase each stamp set for about a week. So this stamp set, you'll get to see 7 days of projects if you go to the blog, which is inkyhandswarmhearts.com. You can check it out there, and the link is in the description below. And because I'm kind of new to YouTube, I need you to help me out. So if you don't mind liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, ask your friends to subscribe too. And when you subscribe, you're going to get notifications of when I post new videos. And if you go to the link in the description below to my blog, you can access PDFs, measurements, and lots more fun projects. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed me making this Stairstep card for you. And I appreciate you being here with me. Thank you again, and this is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping, guys!